Hey guys, so we're going to boot up the Tinkerboard now that I finally have one and play some N64 emulation. Hopefully the sound works. I've been having some issues. This is the latest image. Before I do that, I'm just going to show you something that I literally just got come through the post. Woohoo! Anyway, let's boot her up. So sometimes the sound's a bit weird. I've got my PS4 controller here ready to be hooked up. So we'll see if the sound actually works this time. Just want to check the camera, make sure it looks okay. Yeah. It's a bit bright in here, unfortunately, so maybe a little bit of glare off the screen. And if my camera falls off the perch, I hope it doesn't, but it's a little bit on the old... it's basically just sat there. The piece that screws in on the top of my camera holder, my job, I can't even think of the name for it right now, is screwed. So yeah, we've still got no sound, which is super frustrating. But sometimes there's sound, sometimes there isn't. I think it's a bit of a buggy release, if I'm honest. Obviously this isn't made by the official Retropie team, this is made by the guys over on the Facebook page, which is Crash, who initially started this. So there's still some things that clearly need ironing out, and it booted first time this morning. So basically if I leave it off for ages and then boot it, it's fine, and if I boot it after a fresh image being burned to the SD card, it's fine, but beyond that it just does this. So as you can see, not much has changed with the UI. The booting screen is a bit different to last time. The UI has a lot more in the way of content though. So we've got the N64 emulator, we've got Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES emulator, we've got ports, and I haven't actually checked what we have in ports. So we do have... ooh, go back. I didn't want to do that. Let's go back. What the hell? D-pad does stuff as well. Right, so we've got Prince of Persia, Zelda Mystery of Solaris DX, Zelda Mystery of Solaris XD, and then Zelda Return of the Hylian. We've got these on here on the ports page. If we go back, we've got PSP now, which I was going to show today some gameplay footage of the PSP because I have one ROM on here to show you. I haven't tried it yet, so we could experience that together. We've got Scum VM, we've got Super Nintendo, we've got Dreamcast finally, which wasn't on there previously, and I believe this is in a playable state, but I don't have a game to try. That'll be in a later video. I want to focus more on the Nintendo 64 side today. We've got Game Boy, Mega Drive, Nintendo 64, and that's what we've got basically. I'm sure they're going to add more over time, but pretty much every emulator is there so far, and we've also got obviously the Retropie configuration too. It looks pretty good, it feels pretty good, it controls pretty nice, awesome. So let's get on to some N64 gameplay. I've picked up some of the hardest games here. There's only 5. I'm going to start with V-Rally 99 edition because I know this one is actually quite hard to play and emulate on a lot of things. It doesn't work on a Raspberry Pi. I tried it on my brother's Raspberry Pi and it doesn't work on the Orange Pi with the H3 either. Now there's a couple of things I'm not happy about, and I'm not sure if this requires some configuration, but as you can see the game looks like crap. There's not like on the Raspberry Pi version you can get some certain things that smooth out the image. There doesn't seem to be that on this. Also, for some reason, certain games reverse the circle on it. Like I've mapped the buttons in Retropie. The A is circle, I think, and the B is X. But for some reason on this game it's a little reversed. Now as you can see already, it boots up fine, although in the 4.3 aspect ratio. And this is way smoother than it used to be. I'm probably going to have to put a little bit of background music onto this because it seems like I can't get it working sound-wise, which is super frustrating. Be right back. Don't cut, I rebooted it again just to see if I could get some sound working, but no, it just comes up with mixer error, cannot find mixer. I'll show you the error hopefully afterwards anyway, so if someone does pick up on what to do then that's cool. So yeah, as I was saying, it boots up V-Rally pretty fine. The menus load. You can see on the screen though, if you see where my finger is right now, there is some sort of weird border to it which I'm not a big fan of. And there's no smoothing out of the image, and it is in the 4.3 aspect ratio. I'm sure these are things that I can change myself, but I haven't really delved into the menus just yet. So if we go to arcade, and then we go to start. And I remember this game, there's a cheat, and I can't remember what it is, but there's a cheat to unlock the Ford Escort, the Lancia Stratos, the Toyota, and the Lancia Delta Integrale, but I can't remember what they were. So we're just going to go with my favourite car that I used to play as back in the day, which is in fact the Citroen Xara. Again, sorry there's no sound, it's just one of them things. On the plus side, it won't get me copyrighted, so that's a plus, but it is a bit annoying because I'd rather have it mid down, because then you better hear what the sound actually plays like. As far as emulation goes, other than the fact that it obviously switches the buttons, this runs really well. It runs, I say really well, it runs way better than it does on the Orange Pi, and way better than it does on the Raspberry Pi. I've also got a fan running, that's probably that little humming, if you can hear a little humming in the background, that is the fan in top of the NSPi case. Because the Tinkerboard does get super hot, something that I did note the last time I had one. Oh, oh madness, look at the physics, I haven't played this in ages. But yeah, it runs great, it doesn't look great. I think there could be some, hopefully there's some way I can improve the image quality to make it look a little sharper and a little better, a little less blocky and blurry. Maybe add some anti-aliasing or something or other to make it look a little bit better, because they do have these games running, well obviously this one doesn't run on the Raspberry Pi. They do have certain things on the Raspberry Pi you can use to smooth out the image, smooth out the way it looks, put it in the 16:9 aspect ratio, stretch it out but have it still look decent. So you can see it runs great, and I'm doing 86 mph right now, and there's literally no lag. I'll be honest with you, there's not really any, there's a little bit of, tiny bit of controller lag maybe, but it's barely noticeable. It's not even, it's in the point something of a millisecond as opposed to seconds with controller lag. I can play this quite well. This is pretty cool. It's nice to be able to play this again actually after so long. I used to play this with my little brother. I used to run home from school back in the day. I had one of those see-through blue N64s, and we used to whack this game in and then play split screen, which is less of a thing nowadays, but used to be quite a big thing back then. So yeah, that's that game. Now I have mapped my buttons so I can just press these two. Hopefully you can see that and come back out. And we're gonna try GoldenEye. I may as well have the sound turned down a little bit. I'm going to have a little read of this. So again, this one doesn't look great. There's no smoothing here. There's nothing done with the image at all. I'm sure I can go into settings and change it, like I said, but I might do that later. I haven't really tinkered about it. I just wanted to get this video out, just to show you guys, well, how it works. So multiplayer was always cool. Unfortunately, I don't have another controller to test out, or another dongle or anything, so I can't test out multiplayer. But we can test out the single player. Again, we can't hear the sound, but that's something that I hopefully will work on, and in the next video, hopefully we'll have some sound. And then I'll just show you a plethora of games on various systems. Right, so far so good. That's actually pretty smooth. I've seen it on the Raspberry Pi. My god, it's awful. Okay. Whoa. The controls are a little quick actually. And I can't remember how to fire. Ah, that's how you fire. This is smooth. This is pretty smooth. There's a little bit of, maybe a tiny little bit of shuddering. There's not really. I mean, if I move around really fast like this, you can see there's a little bit of a frame rate dip part way round. Whoa. But beyond that, I can't believe we used to play this back in the day. Me and my friend Tom from down south, before I moved up north, we used to play this over his house religiously. The man with the golden gun. The game was awesome. We used to get the golden gun and just destroy. But as you can see, frame rate wise, it's not unplayable. It's certainly playable completely. I hazard a guess this is playable all the way through. Woohoo! The controller lag seems to be a bit more apparent with this, but that could just be due to the frame rate dips. There's no way to get into the bunker? Oh, there is. There we go. But you can see that it's playable. How do we, Whoa, who the hell's firing at me? Karate chop. Look at his face. Okay. I didn't really play the single player this game, so I'm not entirely sure how... Triangle. Yeah, there we go. We're in the compound, but this is perfectly playable. I'd play this. This is definitely playable. I'm guessing this is how it disguises loading screens. Closes one, then casually loads another. I don't know. All I know is this was a marvel back in the day. It was an achievement to get graphics like this on a console. Nowadays it just looks like ass. So yeah, I'd say this is playable. Then yeah, there's a couple of... I'm on the fence actually. There's a couple of frame rate dips here and there when the action starts, but beyond that, I mean, it's pretty playable. It's pretty playable. It's not as good as say the Odroid, which I've seen. I've not used one, but I've seen what the Odroid can do, and it's amazing. When you think that this is actually a £40 cheaper board, and you could potentially play GoldenEye with a few hiccups, not as many as the Retropie, and it's certainly not unplayable, then I would definitely go for the Tinker board at the moment. Obviously the sound, we don't know what it sounds like, but hopefully it sounds okay. Anyway, that's GoldenEye. Enough of me rambling on about GoldenEye. I'm hoping the video is actually recording. Yeah, my face is in there. So let's try out Top Gear Overdrive. This is another one that I found is notorious for its bad, I guess, emulation. You know, but back when Top Gear had games. Oh, it's weird because those effects I can imagine from a distance would look quite cool, but close up it's super blurry. We get into loading screen, which is more than what we got in anything else. Even on the GCW0 wouldn't run this game at all. One player. Okay, I'm not sure if... Is that supposed to happen? Is the screen supposed to shake? Okay, we get a choice between two cars. We're obviously not going to go for the Beetle. As you can see right now, we're getting some bugs and glitches, which is fine because this game was probably worse to emulate than the other two are so far. I don't think it was badly coded or what, but it works. The shadow is bugging out. This actually looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. This looks way better than GoldenEye did. In fact, it looks better than V-Rally. This is impressive. And when you look at they have tried to add shine to the cars, and I'll be honest with you, although there's some graphical bugs, this is probably perfectly playable. I'm getting a little bit more controller lag with this game, but it's still, I'd say it's still playable. Jesus, I'm really impressed by this, man. The guys that have done this over the past 5 months, I've been away from the scene due to the lack of a Tinker board, and YouTube doesn't exactly pay well when you're this small, so I had to save up for like 5 months before I could get another one. But they've done loads, because this would not have even been playable 5 months ago, and now this plays pretty well, and you can see that with the maybe a few more bug fixes, this could be ironed out, and this could be way more awesome to play. Oh, this is pretty cool. It looks good. It handles well. Oh, there's different camera modes. Okay, so you don't get in car, but you can get like a reverse camera on this. Yeah, so this game looks great. I'm really impressed actually. Top Gear had some good looking games back in the day. And I never had this on N64. I've never played this really before, apart from emulation. And it's never worked, so this is the first time I'm seeing it in action. And it looks pretty sweet. Shame about the sound though. Really is. So we'll come out of that. We're going to show you some Conquer's Bad Fur Day. I'm going to show you a little bit of the intro. Because obviously it's worth showing. It's where the game mostly bugs out. For some reason I thought that it skipped something on this, but I'm not positive. Maybe it's just running quicker for me. On the GCW0 this would completely crap out. The console. On the Raspberry Pi it doesn't work either. On the Orange Pi it doesn't work at all. In fact, this bit's usually quite buggy and glitchy. On here you can see it's not bad at all. There's the shadow's a bit buggy, but it runs so much quicker. I just hope the sound isn't sped up, because the sound was almost correct. But usually now we'd go, so I swear, maybe it just took so long to load before, but I swear it was longer to get from that point to here. And once we're in here, we can actually skip it now, which we couldn't on other emulators. And we can click on game 1 and then start a new game. And we'll see what the video slightly looks like, and then I'll just jump cut to the game itself. And unless I can skip it, in which case I'll skip. I don't think I can skip it. So usually this bit is all... Have we missed the entire intro scene? I'm lost right now. I've played this a million times, but for some reason my brain just cannot remember the... No, we haven't. Right, that's cool. So this bit's what usually is really, really slow when it zooms out, and it takes forever to get through this. Hence why I will likely have to skip it. It's slow anyway, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think it is. It's not very fast. I mean, it's quicker than it used to be, but it's still not very quick. And there's no way to skip this. So what I'll do is I'll jump cut to it. So after skipping the initial intro, which does seem to render pretty well, obviously I can't tell about the sound, but the intro runs pretty well. There's no graphical glitches in the rendering anywhere that I could see, which is pretty cool. Now onto the game itself, and there only seems to be a couple of graphical things, well, one in particular, which is the shadows. Beyond that, everything seems to be completely loaded in. And I've just met Birdie. Turns out my buttons are A and B. A is X and B is Y for some reason. So there, we got full control over our character now, and he's running pretty quick. I don't know if he's slightly sped up, but like I said, I've played this on the Xbox. I played this on the N64, but I played the single player on the Xbox. Mostly multiplayer on the N64. I mostly played the caveman versus dinosaurs thing. Oh, the good old Z button on the N64 controller. It was weird though, the way you had to hold those controllers was so weird. I think you either hold them one way or another, but most of the time you held it in the middle with your would it be right hand? I think it was left hand. And then with the right hand you use the buttons. Maybe I held it with my right hand and used it. No, because the A and B was on the right side. I can't remember. Yeah, I've got it. Right. So now we should be able to press L, but L is actually L2. And then A, which is X. And then, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Wait, are you actually supposed to be... Ah, yeah. And you just go through here, and I think it takes you back out to the front. Does it? Yeah. The camera's a little bit juddery actually. This got worse frame rate on this than any of the other titles that we've tried today. But and because the N64 is inverted camera wise, it's a little bit what's the word? Disorientating. So we can't really go in here. If I remember rightly, we've got to go up to the stone golem at the top, and then he points us in the direction of the key, and then we have to go in there and catch the key with a saucepan. Something like that. Yep. So as you can see, the game actually runs pretty well. For Conker's Bad Fur Day, this is definitely playable. I could play this. I hope there is some way we can smooth out the image, because then I'd definitely play this. I'd actually play through this again on the Tinkerboard. But for a £50 board, it's cheaper than the Odroid, and it runs pretty well. So lastly, I want to check out this PSP game, which isn't a too demanding PSP game. I've got to remember that B is... I pressed A. Okay, let's just... Oh no. Right, whatever. Launch. I'll come out of this. So A is circle and B is X, whereas... Yeah. So yeah, it's completely playable. I'd recommend getting this for Conker's Bad Fur Day alone, because it's way cheaper than the Odroid. Oh wait, there we go. Right, so if we press circle. No, I've done it again. Oh, I'm tired. Right, we'll get it right this time. It's because the emulator completely messed up my control scheme, and now yeah. So we'll go to PSP, and we'll check out this game. Not too demanding, but it'll be interesting to see if it actually runs. Okay, there's only one emulator, so that's... Wait, are we running? Oh man. Now let's just press escape, but we won't be doing that. Dude, if this runs... Who knows what else this thing could run. And it's actually in the correct aspect ratio too. Oh, sweet. And because we're using the PS4 controller, all the buttons are the same. Yeah, accept. We'll just skip through all this. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a complete flag. What the hell is going on right now? How do we speed up? So yeah, it works. Oh, this is so sweet. I'd be interested to see what Daxter actually runs like on this, and a couple of other PSP games. But for less than the Odroid, you can also be running PSP games pretty damn well. Okay, this isn't demanding, but we'll check out some more later, at a later date. This is just a quick look, guys, although it's a little bit longer than I expected it to be. Yeah, we do need the escape button, turns out, because there is no escape button. So we're going to have to... we can push the PS button on the PlayStation, and then exit to menu. It does use PSPP, but the controller is already mapped, which is good, because on the Orange Pie it wasn't. So if we go... Yeah, I'm not going to show much more because I don't think there's really any need. I think it'll run NES pretty well and SNES pretty well, but we can go into different games in a later date. I just wanted to get this video out because obviously it's been 5 months since I produced anything on this. So there you are. This is what has been improved on in the past 5 months. Games actually run really well now. With a few more tweaks and fixes, I'm sure the sound could work way better. We'll check out Dreamcast next time as well, because that's something that I really quite interested in. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I shall see you very soon. If you like this, hit the like button. If you didn't hit the dislike button, I do have a donate button coming at some point, so if you want to donate to the channel, maybe we can look into some other SBCs together and figure out what we want, then that would be cool. I shall see you very soon.